Many of you in this room have been to the first and to the second and to the third. Some of you who are here for the first time, and this is a very important weekend for our movement. It's a time when we come together to learn and to bond. Now, we didn't plan the events that preceded this colloquium. The last 5 weeks have been for us in this country overwhelmingly terrible. And in fact, there are all kinds of feelings and responses that linger with us. There is in the United States of America today a kind of pervasive fear and strong anger. And for some people, there is even a kind of depression. So I have a question to ask, and it relates to what we're going to be doing this weekend. Does secular humanistic Judaism have any important response to recommend to what has happened? I don't mean the political response. I mean the personal one. How do we deal with the fear and the anger and the shock? Well, there's a word abroad. It's been abroad for at least 4 decades in North America and elsewhere. It's a word that suggests to many, many people meaning, security, comfort, inspiration, support. That word is spirituality. And for many, many secular Jews, that's a very difficult word, because it's a word that we didn't use in our vocabulary. For many people in the heyday of the early secular Jewishness, that word was a word that belonged to the enemy. And now there are thousands and thousands of secular humanistic Jews, either affiliated with our movement or not affiliated with our movement, who are comfortably using the word. In fact, one of the things you read all the time is somebody says to you, well, you know, I'm not very religious, or I'm not religious at all, but I'm spiritual. Now, what we could choose to do if we have the old instincts is to say, no surrender. But if we're wise and pragmatic and sensitive to the human condition and sensitive to the needs of people, then we have to explore what it is that people who claim to be secular and humanistic are talking about. Maybe it's not the word of the enemy. Maybe it's a word that describes a reality that we need to confront ourselves. And maybe it would be a very useful thing to understand, in particular at this time. So the question of this colloquium is very simple. What is a secular spirituality? Where do we find it? And if indeed it is there and it is to be found and it is meaningful, how do we enhance it? How do we make it part of our lives? Now, it may be the case that we'll reach the conclusion that it's not possible to rescue the word, that the reality doesn't fit the word. On the other hand, we may discover that indeed it does. I think this is going to be an exciting 2.5 days. And the schedule is in your hands, and I just want to go over it to describe what it will be. The best way to appreciate the weekend is to try every single event. In fact, the keynote is this evening, and there will be 4 presentations tomorrow on Friday and 4 presentations on Saturday and 2 presentations on Sunday. The format of each presentation will be that the presenter or the speaker will share his or her ideas with us, and then the colloquium panel will respond in dialogue to the speaker. There will be an opportunity every single day for people who are participating in this colloquium, the audience, to ask questions, because at the end of each day, the speakers will be invited to stay for an hour and to receive your personal direct questions on the basis of what happened during the course of the day. And then in addition, we hope that everything will be enhanced by 2 events that should have a spiritual dimension. One will be tomorrow night. It's a very important part of this celebration. 3 rabbinic candidates will be ordained tomorrow night. It is, for our movement, an extremely important event. And then on Saturday night, there will be an evening of poetry and theater. It's called the Theater of Secular Spirituality, and hopefully that will also be a time when we can feel in an experiential way what it is that we will be talking about or referring to. Now, the colloquium has been made possible by the generous contribution offered by the Jewish Federation of Metropolitan Detroit. And they have made this contribution to us for the last 2 colloquia, or as I prefer to say, colloquiums. And we have a wonderful representative of the Federation here to bring greetings from the Jewish community that is here in metropolitan Detroit. She is a member of the movement of secular humanistic Judaism, and she is beloved in this Jewish community. Her name is Susie Citron, and Susie, would you come forward to offer you?
Thank you, Sherwin. I was trying to figure out what this weekend was going to be all about. Secular spirituality, spirits, spirituals. So anyhow, I went to my dictionary to see what the word spirit actually meant, and there were 18 definitions. So you're going to have a busy weekend. Well, if you had been inclined to rush to your Webster's dictionary before you arrived this evening, then you might have thought that this weekend was going to be about the spirits that you guzzle in. Have some Madeira, my dear. It's really much nicer than beer. But no, it's not going to be about alcoholic spirits. This weekend is not wine tasting and aperitifs. Nor is it about medicinal spirits as in, oh my God, Morris, she's fainted, go get the spirits. And this is not going to be about spirits that are in the air at this time of year and that eat all of my Halloween candy. I don't know if you have any of those at home in your house. Then I sort of looked around and I think I got the right definition. It's a frame of mind, a vivacity, an enthusiasm or courage. And I think that I discovered what this weekend is really all about. Spirit, the soul, the thinking, motivating, feeling part of man. This spirit is what's on the inside. Epho ori be. That's what we say all the time here at the temple. What is my life? What is my hope? It's all within me. It was very clear to me why the Jewish Federation of Metropolitan Detroit has continued to sponsor this magnificent, exciting weekend, a weekend of exploration of the spiritual that is within all of us. It's really Federation's top priority to educate, informal education, formal education. As you may already know, The Jewish Federation of Metropolitan Detroit sponsors scholarships for students in every single after-school day program in all the congregations, and the Birmingham Temple is also always part of this project. The temple has also received a computer room thanks to the Federation. The special needs teachers who help children with learning disabilities is at every congregational school, and we have one here at the Birmingham Temple who helps kids. Last year, 700 young people attended day schools and after-school programs with special needs teachers in the classrooms, and they would not have otherwise had a Jewish education were it not for these teachers in the classroom. So Federation thinks that education, both informal and formal, is extremely important. Informal education can include all of the Hillels that are on our university campuses in Michigan, camping for kids, Bubby Zadie Grandma Grandkids Camp, single parents camp at Tamarack, a plethora of classes at the 2 Jewish community centers, and teen study trips to Israel. All of these Federation supports. Informal education could be our SAGE classes, SAGE's seminars on adult Jewish education. And this coming January, Rabbis Wein, Colton, and Shalom will all be participating, as will many of the other rabbis in this community. And you're all invited to take a 4-week class in January at the Jewish Center. Of course, informal Jewish education has to include this wonderful weekend, this weekend of exploration and of discovery. All of these programs are supported by the Federation's annual campaign, and on October 28th, it's Super Sunday, and everybody will probably be getting a call, and I hope that you'll step up and help us in this real time of crisis to support the annual campaign. And if you haven't pledged for the 2002 campaign, I urge you to consider giving your very best pledge. While our hearts are here at home over our horrendous domestic crisis, we mustn't forget our family in Israel. On December 2nd, the Jewish Federation, the Jewish News, and the Jewish Community Council are supporting a national mission to Israel, and it's in Israel for Israel. So I hope that many of you in the room will join me in Israel. I know you're not thinking about Israel, but give it some thought, please. I bring you hearty greetings from the Jewish Federation of Metropolitan Detroit and the United Jewish Foundation and their boards and their officers, and we seek to build always in this community a more responsive and spiritual community. And thank you, Yasher Koach, on this wonderful weekend.